Data security at the client profile level. I'm back as the case manager in the program who entered John Mike Doe into Service Point. And as I entered his profile information and every other piece of information, for every piece of information that I entered, there is a security setting assigned to it. And the only people who have the ability to change the security setting for the data that I've entered are the case manager himself, the case manager who created the data, or any other case managers in the same program, or an agency administrator at the agency where the caseworker works. In this video, we'll just demonstrate the security setting at the client profile level. So now, currently, the security setting is open, and that means any other agency can search for John Doe by his client ID and or his name, and they'll find him. Let's see this demonstrated. I'll go to another browser. And here I'm a caseworker at this program, and I search for his ID, and I find him. Or I can search for his name, and here is John Mike Doe. I find him. Now if we go back to the originating caseworker, again, only I have the ability to change the security here. I want to change it to close. When I click on this lock, I see that the client is currently open. I have the ability to close it, or I have the ability to close it and assign providers to the exception list. If I'm a caseworker at another agency, here I'll go to Lake County Health Department, and I find him, and I try to change the security, I'll get a message saying that I can't, because it was a different provider that created this piece of data, and it can't be restricted by my agency. So back at the originating agency, I click on the lock, and I decide to close it. Why would I close it? Let's say the client says that they only want my agency to see his information, and they refuse to let other agencies know that he's in Service Point, and so you'll close his client profile. This is how you'll close it. Just click on the close link, and the lock will change from green to red. It's green to red. Now if those same agencies, any other agency tries to search for John Mike Doe, here we'll search for him by name, he's gone from this list now. And if I try to search by ID, I definitely as well don't find anything, and I get a message something like this: wrong client ID entered. So now PADS Assessment Center has no idea that there's a John Mike Doe in Service Point. Let's go back to the originating caseworker. And now let's say John Doe has warmed up a bit, and you want to refer him off to PADS Assessment Center. And John's okay with this now, and he wants PADS Assessment Center to be able to find him. So you'll click on the red lock, and you will specify that PADS Assessment Center is an exception to the closed lock. Save and exit, and the lock changed. The lock is now red with the yellow exclamation point. And if ever you want to see who those agencies are, you can always click right back on the lock, and whatever agency has a check next to it is an agency in the exception list. So now when we hop over to PADS Assessment Center and we search for this client, either by name or by client ID, it doesn't matter. In either case, they'll be found. Search for this ID. Screen's refreshing, and now John Mike Doe appears. They see the same lock, but again, they can't do anything with it. They click on it, they get the same message saying that it cannot be restricted by your agency. You can't change the lock. And likewise, if we go over to Lake County Health Department, I'm going to refresh the screen, they will not be able to find them because they're not in the exception list. They get the same error message previously. Client information. Client doesn't exist, essentially. And this concludes the, one other thing. I mean, you can always maintain this list. You can always go in here and add Lake County Health Department or take away previous agencies if you want. Save and exit, and now the list is updated, and so now, of course, Lake County Health Department will be able to find John Doe. Okay, this concludes the video on data security at the client profile level.